Subject concrete structures, chapter pre-stressed concrete, topic introduction to pre-stressed concrete. So now students, we have discussed the properties of concrete, the cement also we have discussed the stress strain curve for concrete steel, we discussed about the slabs, we discussed about columns, we discussed about beams, single reinforced, double reinforced beams, and a lot of other IS code provisions. Now the last chapter in the concrete structures, it is about the pre-stressed concrete, and the first topic is introduction to pre-stressed concrete. So now let me tell you what pre-stressed concrete is, right? You can say in just layman terms, okay, in just layman term, and then I will be explaining you in civil engineering terms also. Now, as the name, it is clear, pre-stressed. So pre-stressed concrete. So it simply means by the word itself that the load has been applied or the stress has been applied before the application of actual loading or stress. So I can say that in pre-stressed concrete, load has been applied, load, and which ultimately leads to stress, right? So load or stress has been applied before the application of actual loading, before the application of actual loading, which ultimately leads to stress. Now, what it actually means and what is the need of a pre-stressed concrete? Actually, pre-stressed concrete is not a new topic. We have been using it for ages, right? In earlier, you can say days, when we had big containers, so the big containers, they were bound by a mild steel, right? It was pre-stressed. So I will explain you that also. Why mild steel nowadays it is not used, okay? So a pre-stressed concrete. Now, why there was even a need for the pre-stressed concrete? So let me explain you with the stress strain curve, okay? So let us say this is a beam section. So if some loading is applied, this is a neutral axis. If neutral axis, you know that if I draw the stress curve, bending stress curve or the stress curve at this portion above the neutral axis, it is compression, and below the neutral axis it is tension. So let us say that here it is compression and here it is tension. This is compression and this is tension. Clear? Let us say compression like this and tension like this. Clear? So above the neutral axis it is compression, below the neutral axis is tension. Now it gives me, you can say, a common sense. Even if I apply some concepts and even if I apply some common sense, I can say that if somehow I eliminate this tension part, if I eliminate this tension part, then there is no need for providing reinforcements, because reinforcements are provided only to counter the tensile stresses, tensile forces, because concrete, it is zero in tension, right? It does not have any, you can say, tension carrying capacity, right? It is zero in tension, it cracks, right? So to resist the tensile stresses, what we do? We apply some reinforcement bars here. Now my common sense, it says that if somehow I eliminate this thing, if I eliminate the tensile stresses, and if I somehow convert my stress diagram into just, you can say, compressive stress diagram like this, everything is compressive, then there is no need for reinforcements. If there is no need for reinforcements, you can say, I can save the reinforcements, as well as that if every stress is compressive, concrete is very good in compression. It can resist very high compressive stresses, right? Obviously, so there will be, you can say, it will be beneficial for me, and it will be beneficial for me also in that way also, that the tensile steel, they are prone to, you can say, corrosion. They are prone to corrosion. It means that if you are providing tensile steel in a beam, they will reduce the durability of the concrete, durability of the beam, or the durability of the section. Or if somehow I do not provide this steel, then what will happen? The durability will also increase. Clear? Now third thing is, you also know that to increase the moment carrying capacity, again I'm repeating, to increase the moment carrying capacity of, you can say, of a beam, what we do is that either we increase the reinforcement or we increase the depth. Clear? Now, if it has a high moment carrying capacity, I can provide smaller depth also. Smaller sections can also be provided. Clear? The next important thing is that you know that the L by D ratio of a simply supported beam of a cantilever beam, it is not very high. For cantilever it is 7, for simply supported it is 20, for continuous it is 26. You know all these things, right? Okay. Now, if somehow you can say I resist, or I can, you can say, control the stresses in such a way that I can provide very big lengths, it will be beneficial for me. So by considering all these aspects, we came to the conclusion that pre-stressed concrete is required. Okay? Now, how pre-stressing is done? Okay, and what is the, you can say, the concept of pre-stressing? Now let us understand. Okay, so pre-stressing means it has already been stressed before the application actual loading, right? So let me explain you how pre-stressing is done. Let me rub this. Okay, so I am starting from the zero level. Okay. Now let us say that this is a beam. This is a beam. Okay, it's a simply supported beam. It's simply supported here also, and here also simply supported beam. Clear? This is a beam. Okay. Now this is the cross section of the beam. This is the cross section of the beam. Let us say this is B, and this is your, let us say, D. Cross section of the beam. Clear? Now, before the application of loading, I have not applied any load, right? If somehow what do we do in the pre-stressing is that there is a tendon. There is a tendon. Now, what is tendon? Tendon is a type of a reinforcement whose elasticity is greater than that of steel. So I am writing here the elasticity of tendon. The elasticity of tendon is greater than steel. Okay? And how tendons are made? The thinnest thing is wire. First of all, we have the wire, right? If we combine wire, we have strands. If we combine strands, we get tendons. And if we combine tendons, then again in the end we are getting bars actually, right? So that is how we are getting bars, right? So the thinnest is wire, then we have strands. If strands are combined together, it gives us tendons, right? And then we are getting bars. Clear? Now we place a tendon here before the application of loading, and we stretch it. Clear? Now if you stretch it and you cast concrete after it, now you have casted concrete. So what will happen? Now after 28 days, you cut this tendons. Right? So if you cut this tendon, what will happen? Because the elasticity of tendon is high, the tendon will try to come back to its original position. It's a common sense. If you stretch something, if you hold it, and after 28 days you have casted concrete over it, around it, and you can say you remove the supports, what will happen? The tendon will try to come back to its original position. Clear? Now, if the tendon tries to come back to its original position, what will happen? This tendon will exert a compressive forces or compressive stresses in the beams. Simple, right? It will you can say it will have some compressive stresses in the beam. So let me draw it how the compressive stresses would look like. Let me rub this. Let me rub this also. Clear? Now there is no initially there is no loading case, right? Now what will happen is that when the tendons, they will get compressed, they will get, you can say, want to come back to their original position, they will compress the beam. If the compression means compressive stresses will be developed, so compressive stresses would be like this. The compressive stresses would be like this. Let us say the compressive stress. Or you can say it can be like this. Let me rub it. They will be like this. Like this. Compressive stresses. Clear? Why? Because if we cut it, then there will be some loading P. There will be some loading P, and if you do this, you transfer the load. So here you have P and a moment which is equals to P into. So we do some calculations and we stretch the tendon only up to that position that it does not generate any tensile stresses. If you will stretch it very high, what will happen? Here we have compressive stresses and here tensile stresses will be generated. But we stretch our tendons up to that position only that it does not create a tensile stresses. Now what is happening? Now this is not a transverse stage. I will be explaining you two stages are there. Now when you are applying some loading, now due to this loading, the type of stress curve is like this. You remember? It is like this. Now if you are applying some loading, what will happen? There will be some, this will be the stress curve. Here it is compressive, here it is tensile, right? So if you superimpose these two curves, if you superimpose these two curves, what will happen? This region below the neutral axis, the compressive force, the tensile force will decrease the compressive stresses, the tensile stresses will decrease the compressive stresses. Let us say compressive is positive and tensile is negative. So positive, negative, right? Now what will happen if you superimpose these two graphs? You will get a resultant graph like this, and it will increase. Compressive will increase. Compressive, tensile will decrease. So it will be like this. Compressive. The total overall effect is compressive. So that is how my beam is in compression stage always. Clear? Now what will happen? The durability will increase, the length will also increase of the section, the effective depth can also decrease, right? Okay, and you can say there is no need to provide reinforcement. A lot of advantages are there, right? So that is how the the pre-stressing is done. So stress has been applied before the application of this actual loading. Okay, so in pre-stress concrete we have two stages. First one is the transverse stage. Transverse stage. And second stage is known as the service stage. Service stage. Transverse stage and service stage. So in transverse stage, whatever I have told you before the application of this loading is transverse stage. You stretch the tendons, right? You cast concrete after 28 days. You remove the support. They will try to come back to their original position. All this comes in the transverse stage. Now when you apply some actual loading, some people are walking or some, let's say some live load is there, dead load is there, at that you have a service stage. So the shifting from the transverse to service stage, it has some losses actually, right? Which are denoted by neta. Some losses are there. So that losses will be calculating, which is a very important topic for getting point of view, right? So some losses will be there, right? This is known as the analysis of beams under the action of service and transfer load. That will be discussing in a all new different topic, right? But first of all, I will be telling the introduction how pre-stressing is done actually. Clear? Okay. So when you go from the transfer to service stage, what will happen? Some losses will be there. The losses between the bonds, there can be some losses in the tendons also. So a lot of due to shrinkage also there can be some losses. A lot of losses will be there. That losses have to be calculated accurately. Clear? Okay. Now the next thing is, let me tell you about the advantages of pre-stressed concrete. Let me rub it. And let me tell you about the advantages of pre-stressed concrete. Now I have already told you that pre-stressing is not a new concept. It is a very old concept, right? Earlier we used to take the help of Fe250. That is a mild steel. But nowadays we are not using mild steel. There is a reason for that. Let me explain the reason, because this question has been asked many times in interviews. The students, they come to me and they ask me, sir, this question was asked. So what is the answer to that question, right? The question is, earlier people used to use Fe250 for pre-stressing, but nowadays we are not using Fe250. The reason is that I told you that if you are going from the transverse to service stage, there are a lot of losses. right? The losses can be up to 200 megapascals. 200 megapascals. The losses can be up to 200 megapascals. Now, what is the yield strength of a mild steel? That is 250 megapascal. So, if the losses are around 200 megapascals, if you subtract it, we are only left with 50 megapascal. So, 50 megapascal is very less, right? So, that is why we are not using Fe250, Fe250 nowadays. We are using Fe415 or more, right? So, you can write for pre-stressed concrete, Fy should be greater than or equal to Fe415 Newton per mm square. Simple. Clear? Now, the thing is, let's see, come to the advantages. Advantages of pre-stressed concrete. Pre-stressed concrete. The first advantage is of the pre-stressed concrete that we can have smaller depth. Smaller depth of sections can be there. Second most important advantage is we can have larger span. Larger span. How much the span can be larger? The L by D ratio, it can go up to 45 for pre-stressed concrete. Clear? Now, third thing is it can have more load carrying capacity. Simple, right? It can have more load carrying capacity. It can have more load carrying capacity. The next advantage can be number 4. The next advantage can be because everything is in compression, right? There is no need for the reinforcement bars except the tendons, right? So the next important thing is that you can have more durability. More durability. Clear? The next thing can be, you can say, it can be reduced self-weight. Reduced self-weight. Because if you are decreasing the depth, the self-weight will be ultimately reduced self-weight. Clear? So if it has advantages, it will also have disadvantages. The most important disadvantage is that, first of all, not cost, right? Cost is secondary or third disadvantage. The most important disadvantage is that it requires skilled labor, because to do all this tensioning portion, tensioning of tendons, and then a lot of things, it requires skilled laborers. Skilled laborers. The second thing is that there should be a good quality control. If the good quality control is not there, then the losses will be very high. So to control the losses, a good quality control should be there. The third thing is that it requires costly machinery. It requires costly machinery. It requires costly machinery. Now one question is also asked in examinations, that what is the IS code which is used for the pre-stressed concrete? So the IS code is 1343/1980. This IS code is used for pre-stressed concrete. Clear? So I hope that you have understood the introduction to pre-stressed concrete. Now there are also types of pre-stressing also, right? On the basis of whether it is mechanically or you can say electrically, or there is some post-tensioning also, pre-tensioning also. Now what are the differences and different types of classifications of pre-stressed concrete? Now let us discuss in the next video, next lecture, right? So I hope that you have understood the introduction of pre-stressed concrete. Thank you.